They have not said it. Not directly, not clearly, maybe not at all, but something has shifted, and you can feel it even though you cannot prove it. A story view that came out of nowhere. A message that did not quite say anything but somehow said everything. A silence that feels different from the silence before. And you are sitting there asking the question you are almost embarrassed to ask out loud. Do they miss me? Not. Do they want to get back together? Not. Are they ready? Just, do they miss me? Is any part of them thinking about me the way I am thinking about them? Today, I am going to answer that question. Not with reassurance, with specific observable signs that show up in behavior, even when an avoidant would never say the words out loud. Because here is the thing about avoidant attachment that most people do not understand. Missing someone and being able to say it are two completely different things. Drop something in the comments right now. 1, if you are watching their behavior trying to figure out what it means. 2, if they have reached out but in a way that was not quite direct. 3, if the silence feels different but you cannot explain why. I read every single one. Sign 3 is the one that surprises people most, because it looks like indifference from the outside. Stay with me, because it changes how you read everything. Sign 1. And this one is easy to miss because it looks so small. An avoidant who misses you rarely reaches out directly, rarely says I miss you, rarely initiates a real conversation about what happened or where things stand. But they find ways to stay close to the edges of your world, a reaction to your story, a comment on something you posted, a forwarded meme or article, something that gave them a reason to put their name in your notifications without having to say anything real. A mutual friend mentioning your name came up, a question sent through someone else, a check-in that was framed as something else entirely. These are not accidents. They are not coincidences. For an avoidant person whose nervous system is trained to retreat from direct emotional expression, these low-stakes contacts are the closest thing to I miss you that they know how to offer. The key is the pattern. One story view means nothing. A consistent pattern of small, low-stakes contact over several weeks, that means something. They are staying in your orbit because leaving it completely feels worse than the discomfort of being near it. Sign 2 involves something that happens when you are not watching, when you are not available, when your attention is elsewhere. What they do in those moments tells you almost everything. Here is what to look for. Sign 2. And this one is the most revealing. An avoidant attachment system operates on a specific logic. When you are present and available, when the intimacy is close and the emotional stakes feel high, the nervous system pushes toward distance. But when you begin to genuinely move on, when your energy pulls back, when you stop being available in the ways you used to be, when you start rebuilding your own life, something shifts. The distance they created suddenly feels different, not like freedom, like loss, and the signs tend to appear right at that moment, right when you have started to genuinely let go. The story view, the message, the mutual friend, the reach out that comes out of nowhere after weeks of silence. This is not manipulation. Most avoidants are not calculating this consciously. Their nervous system registered your absence, and absence, real absence, is one of the few things that breaks through the avoidant defense system and allows the feeling of missing someone to surface. This is why avoidants so often come back right when you move on. Not because they are cruel, because the emotional processing is delayed. They feel the loss weeks or months after it happens. And by the time they feel it, you have already started to heal. Sign 3 is the one I told you about, the one that looks like indifference, the one that almost everyone misreads. It is coming up right now. Sign 3. And this is the one that confuses people most. When most people miss someone, they reach out more. They become more expressive, more present, more visible. Avoidants often do the opposite. When an avoidant misses you, when the feeling becomes real and close and impossible to ignore, they often go quieter, more withdrawn, more internal. Not because they do not care, because the feeling is activating the same system that always activates when emotional intensity rises. They want to reach out, and the wanting itself makes them pull back. So from the outside, it can look like they have moved on completely, like you do not cross their mind, like the silence is comfortable for them. But that particular quality of silence, the one that feels heavy rather than empty, the one that has a different texture from the silence before, is often the silence of someone sitting with something they do not know how to say. You have probably felt this, the silence that feels louder than words. That silence is not always nothing. Sometimes it is everything, held in by a nervous system that learned a very long time ago that expressing what you feel is not safe. Sign 4 involves something very specific that happens in how they talk, or do not talk, about you to other people. And sign 5 is the one that is hardest to fake. Both are coming up right now. Sign 4. And this one requires paying attention to what you hear from other people. An avoidant who has genuinely moved on tends to keep the past in the past. They do not bring you up. They do not ask about you through mutual friends. They do not reference shared memories in contexts where you are not present. But an avoidant who misses you does something different. Your name comes up, not always in dramatic ways. Sometimes just, have you heard from her? Or, I saw something that reminded me of when we used to. Or a mutual friend mentioning that you came up in conversation without any obvious reason. They keep you in their world, even when they are not in contact with you. Not always because they have a plan, not always because they have worked out what they want, but because something about letting you disappear from their mental world entirely feels like a loss they are not ready to accept. This is one of the clearest signs of genuine missing. When someone keeps you present in their life, even in your absence. When your name comes up in rooms you are not in. When the connection is maintained, quietly, without announcement. Even when everything on the surface suggests it should be over. Sign 5. This is the one that is hardest to fake. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Sign 5. And this one requires stepping back and looking at the full picture rather than individual moments. When an avoidant reaches out, and an avoidant who misses you will eventually reach out, the timing tends not to be random. It tends to cluster around specific moments. Right after you posted something that showed you doing well. Right after a mutual friend mentioned something about your life. Right after a period of your own genuine healing when your energy shifted and became less focused on them. Right when you were starting to actually let go. This is the pattern that tells you something real is happening underneath. Because a loneliness reach out is triggered by their own emotional state. A bad day, a holiday, a quiet moment when they feel empty. But a reach out triggered by your movement, by your healing, by your growing independence, by the sense that you are genuinely moving forward. But that comes from something different. It comes from missing you specifically. Not missing company in general, not seeking emotional supply from the nearest available source. Missing you, the specific person, the specific connection, the specific version of themselves that existed when you were together. And that kind of specific missing, the kind that shows up when you stop being available, is the closest thing to genuine feeling that avoidant attachment tends to allow. I want to be honest with you about something before we move into the practical section. None of these signs mean it is time to open the door. Missing someone is real, and it matters. But missing someone is not the same as being ready for them. An avoidant who misses you, but has not done the internal work that changes the pattern, will repeat the pattern. Different timing, different words, same cycle. The question is not only whether they miss you, the question is whether the missing has turned into something that changes how they show up. And that question takes time to answer. More time than the first warm message, more time than the first week of reconnection, 2 to 3 months of consistent, ordinary behavior. That is where the real answer lives. So what do you do with all of this? First, do not chase the signs. The moment you start actively looking for confirmation that they miss you, you give your power away. Stay in your own life. Let the pattern reveal itself without your interference. Second, do not respond to low-stakes contact with high-stakes energy. If they view your story, do not immediately post more. If they send a small message, do not immediately open every door. Match the energy they are actually offering, not the energy you hope it represents. Third, notice the timing of your own healing. If reach-outs tend to appear right when you are genuinely moving on, that is information. It tells you the missing is real. It also tells you that your own healing is the most powerful thing you can do right now, not to get them back, but because your life deserves your full attention. Fourth, give it time before you decide anything. Missing is the beginning of something possibly real. It is not the end of the work. What they do over the next several weeks, consistently in ordinary moments, is what tells you whether the missing has turned into something you can actually build on. And fifth, hold both things at once. They may genuinely miss you, and it may not yet be enough. Both of those can be true at the same time. And holding both, without collapsing into either hope or hopelessness, is one of the hardest and most important things you can do right now. Here is what I want you to carry from this video. An avoidant who misses you will not always say it. They may not say it for weeks, months, maybe longer. But the signs are there, in the small contacts, in the timing of their reach-outs, in the particular quality of the silence, in the way your name keeps appearing in places it does not have to. Missing and saying it are two different things for avoidant people. But missing, genuine missing, eventually finds a way to show itself. The question is whether you are watching for the right things. And now you know what to look for. Subscribe if this kind of honest, clear-eyed conversation is what you need right now. Drop a number in the comments, even just one. I will see you in the next one.